Please take your seats. The meeting is about to begin. Remember to speak into the microphone, as this meeting is being recorded for public record. Please stand by. We are going on air in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the June meeting of the DRB. We are missing one person, but we know that. Okay. Let's begin with attendance.
I'll do a roll call. Chair Meshberg.
Here.
Ms. Butagavoli.
Here.
Mr. Asion.
Here.
Mr. Lester.
Here.
Ms. Lewin.
Here.
Ms. Mindich.
Here.
And then Mr. Paez is absent. So we have 6 of 7 members present. We do have a quorum.
Are there any updates from the attorney?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Public swearing?
Sure. Good morning, all. Today's meeting of the Design Review Board has been scheduled in a hybrid format with a quorum of the board physically present in the commission chambers at the Miami Beach City Hall, and applicants, staff, and members of the public appearing either in person or virtually via the Zoom platform. In order to participate in today's meeting, those wish to participate via the Zoom platform webinar may dial 888-475-4499, which is a toll-free number, and enter the webinar ID, which is 822-7394-1924, or log into the Zoom app and enter the webinar ID, which again is 1924, 1924. Any individual wishing to speak on an item must click the raise hand icon if they are using the Zoom app, or dial *9 if they are appearing by phone. Before I swear in those that will be testifying today, I'm going to read into the record the city's notice regarding lobbyist registration. If you are appearing on behalf of a business, a corporation, or another person, you need to register as a lobbyist with the city clerk's office. If you haven't registered yet, you should register before you address the board. You do not have to register as a lobbyist in 3 limited circumstances. 1, if you are speaking only on your behalf and not any other party. Or 2, if you are testifying as an expert witness, providing only scientific, technical, or other specialized information or testimony in this public meeting. Or 3, if you are appearing as a representative of a neighborhood association without any compensation or reimbursement for your appearance, to express support of or opposition to any item. Expert witnesses and representatives of the neighborhood associations shall, prior to appearing, disclose in writing to the city clerk their name, address, and the principal on whose behalf they are communicating. If you are an architect, attorney, or an employee representing an applicant or an objector, you must register as a lobbyist. These rules apply whether you are appearing in favor of or against an item, or encouraging or arguing against its passage, defeat, modification, or continuance. At this time, Mr. Chair, I'm going to swear in the members of the public that are physically present here. Those that are appearing by Zoom will be sworn in individually. So for those folks here today that are testifying, if you can please stand and raise your right hand. Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll be giving in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Paez is online and raising his hand. Would you allow him a moment to speak, I guess?
Sure.
Board member Paez, I guess he's absent, but he'd like to state something.
Okay, go
If
ahead.
you don't, sorry, it's a little bit out of order. Mr. Paez?
Bill?
I saw your hand was raised. If you'd like to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know that I'm watching. I am in Israel today. I've been on a delegation here for the past week. That is why I'm absent today, but I am following you at this time.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. We will go to the minutes. everyone, motion to approve, modify?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Lester. Second, I believe I heard Ms. Butagoli.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion passes.
Any other business?
We have no other business.
Okay. On the consent agenda?
No consent items today.
All right. Request for continuances and withdrawals.
Okay, so the first one is DRB 26-1176. That is for 120 MacArthur Causeway. The applicant had submitted an application, however, they're going to be making some additional changes that will require the item to be renoticed. So just for anybody listening, this item will be renoticed for a later date. So no action is necessary because the item will be renoticed. Next, we have DRB 25-1099. That's for 935 Second Street. That application is requiring 2 variances that were not previously noticed and not realized. So that application is being renoticed for the July 9th meeting. And because it's being renoticed, no action is necessary from the board. The next item is DRB 26-1161. That's 299 72nd Street. That's the North Beach Community Complex. The consultants are working on the modifications that were requested by the board. They need some additional time to complete those modifications. So they have requested that the item be continued to the July 9th meeting. So on that one, we would need a motion to continue the item.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to continue.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Lewin, second by Ms. Butagavoli. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes.
Okay. Open.
That means it's coming back a lot nicer, right?
That's the goal. That's the goal.
They have time now. Open and continued items. No.
We have no open and continued items.
Any modifications to previously approved?
No modifications to previously approved listed. Actually, the first item that we have is a modification to a previously approved, but it was listed under new applications.
Okay.
So we can proceed to that one if you'd like.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay, so that's DRB 26-1162, formerly known as DRB 17-0157, and formerly, and prior to that, it was DRB 23-076. This is for 723 North Lincoln Lane, and it's an application has been filed requesting modifications to an existing 3-story commercial building. Specifically, the applicant is requesting the design of the exterior, modifications to the design of the exterior facade. The application includes improvements to the Lincoln Lane North right-of-way, including pavement, lighting, and landscaping. So this is a part of modification to an existing building. It's currently the Lincoln Eatery, and it has Marshalls on the second and third floor. So the applicant is proposing to modify this building, give it a refresh, and then additionally, the applicant is proposing to modify Lincoln Lane North itself. So as part of the refresh, the applicant is proposing to maintain some of the features, so they're maintaining the existing metal louver facade, the canopy eyebrows. However, they are proposing to remove portions of the storefront glazing, replace it with new door systems in multiple locations, creating new entry points for the building, and creating, instead of right now it's one big open space, they may be changing that so that it's individual retail bays. Because it currently functions as a food hall. The applicant is proposing to embellish the canopy structure with a new metal trellis with columns and climbing vines at the corners along the facade, new aluminum pergola structure above that, metal planters with irrigation are proposed above the canopy and at the top of the trellis columns, so it will really make the building much more lush and much more green, and so these changes are quite interesting, and we think it would be a significant improvement to that facade. The application also includes the pedestrianization of North Lincoln Lane. So they will be changing what is currently a service alley where you see all of the service for the buildings at Front Lincoln Road. You see garbage trucks, you see, it's pretty haphazard. And that's what the Lincoln Eatery is facing. So they are proposing to modify that site to the south of Lincoln Lane. That's going to be before the Historic Preservation Board, I believe next week, and they're going to be beautifying that and creating a whole new pedestrian paseo there. They're going to be improving those historic buildings facing Lincoln Road, and so that's going to integrate with the Lincoln Eatery to the north via this new pedestrian paseo that they will be changing Lincoln Lane North to. So that includes adding bollards in order to provide protection to the pedestrians while still being able to allow emergency vehicle access and any other service that needs to access at certain times of the day. But that will, for most of the day, be limited to pedestrians. They will be adding hardscape treatments to Lincoln Lane North, so that includes pavers that will be a charcoal and light gray color that has different patterns throughout that will provide for an interesting pedestrian experience. They're going to be providing additional landscaping along Lincoln Lane North. So really, it's going to be a pretty significant transformation, and it's going to be a very beautiful space for pedestrians to be able to meander, wander, shop, see, do, entertain, and really enjoy the area. So it's going to create a very, very nice new amenity for the Lincoln Road area. Staff is supportive of the proposed modifications, and we recommend that the application be approved subject to the conditions in the attached draft order.
Okay. Just to be clear, there's a modification today, or this was previously?
So the building is there, so it's a modification to a building that was previously approved by the Design Review Board.
Okay.
The Lincoln Lane North, that has never been before the board. There, it's just a alley, it's just a paved road, there's nothing really special about it, so this is the first time that it comes before the board to make it something far, far more significant.
Okay.
Before we start, are there any disclosures from the board?
I met with the legal and owner on the site last week.
As did I.
I
So
did
that-
as well.
As did I.
Okay, and Andres?
I was invited to meet, but I didn't meet, and I got a call from Michael Comras, chatted with him for a bit.
Thank you all. Is 10 minutes okay, Michael, or do you need more?
I think that'll be fine for the beginning,
Okay.
and then we'll see where we go. So, good morning, Mr. Chairman, board member, staff, Michael Larkin, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard, here representing the applicant. With it is Michael Comras, the principal owner. We have Jackie Tuesday, Carlos Tuesday, and their son, Carlos Tuesday, as our architects. Also joined with Jose Gomez, another one of our architects, and Ken Gardner, who is our landscape architect. I think you all have witnessed, heard, been responsible for many of the improvements in this Lincoln Road area. While your jurisdiction is mostly to the west of Lenox, Drexel. It's exciting things that are happening. The Infinity Group purchased Michael Schro's assemblage where Epicure used to be. They're putting their imprint upon that. 1212 Lincoln Road is rapidly being leased up with Anatomy Gym there, Citizen M Hotel. It's exciting to see that come into fruition. You have the old movie theater space being repurposed to be an immersive art museum. You have the former Banana Republic space, going to be occupied soon by one of the most famous chefs in the world. Then the Apple store pops all the time. The Nike store pops all the time. And then you get to the assemblage that Michael Comras has purchased that he has reshaped and rebranding as Noli. It's, I think, one of the most exciting things that'll happen. I think it's going to push Lincoln Road into the next generation of where it should be. And I'd like to invite Michael up to the podium and tell you all about his vision for this area of Lincoln Road. And can we have the presentation? There you go.
Great. Good morning, members of the board, staff. Michael Comras with offices at 1261 20th Street and a longtime Miami Beach resident. I've been here over about 30 years and really focusing on retail leasing and development. We started over on Collins Avenue in the early days and developing a lot of what were closed down residential two-story buildings and converting them into retail space. And really what I got to learn was all about historic preservation and really figuring out how to merge contemporary retailing into historic preservation. And that gave me a lot of experience and really going back and understanding the history of these buildings and really what made them special and why they should be retained or modified and worked with in order to continue towards the next evolution. What you see here is really in blue are the properties that we have dubbed NOLI. NOLI is an acronym for North Lincoln. Our logo reflects a portal in a building, which will be something that you'll see as we move through the process, or you can actually see it on the bottom there. But basically what we've put together is a series of about 5 buildings, which represent about 150,000 square feet with over 1,700 linear feet of frontage, catering to about 40 like-minded cafes, boutiques, and lifestyle uses. The project really starts to solve some of the issues that I've identified on Lincoln Road, which really inhibit the ability to get some of the spaces rented on Lincoln Road. And a lot of that, and I can jump into that later, but it has to do with the depths of the spaces, the variety of the fact that there's 40 different property owners amongst 10 blocks, 1 million square feet, and really tough to create a curated vision with all those different owners. So what we're looking to do is really provide a vision and takes what is today an unsightly alley and really elevating it into a pedestrian-focused promenade. And the goal is to take what is really the back of a building or buildings that front Lincoln Road and create second street fronts. Rather than having a back of a building, I believe that we should be looking at this district and the expansion of Lincoln Road into a broader district, which takes advantage of every street front that we can find. And there's no reason why we should be sitting there with dumpsters front and center in front of another retail store or transformers out in the public spaces and so on. And the way we're doing this, the way we're dealing with some of these issues and improving circulation is actually introducing 2 novel concepts. One is the VIA, which takes you from Lincoln Road to Lincoln Lane, and the other is the street off the street concept. The VIA actually is created by just the removal of a storefront and the removal of the back wall of an existing retail space. As you can see in this drawing here, the middle of the block is really the area that we're focused on in this application. And if you see the right space there, that's a 25-foot wide space with 145 foot of depth. Sorry. Here we go. Yeah. It's there somewhere. Anyway, you can see the deep space. Next to the deep space, you'll see 2 spaces that are identical. They're 17 foot wide by about 100 foot deep. Actually, the space on the left is the space that's being opened up to create the VIA. The VIA will be 17 foot wide. It'll be a covered VIA, providing a sense of respite from the sun and the conditions.
Michael, sorry, you can use the mouse.
Oh, okay. Anyway, you can really see by removing that one really deep storefront, we're able to reorient these spaces to create smaller boutique spaces, which are spaces of 700 square feet, which cannot be found on Lincoln Road. Because of the depth of many of the buildings on Lincoln Road, when you take a 50-footer wide building and it's 150 foot deep, if you cut that up into 2 tenants or 3 tenants, you get very narrow spaces, very deep spaces. So really what we're working on here in NOLI is really creating spaces that are more contemporary for today's users. Back here is what we were looking at, and this is the second street front of the buildings that front Lincoln Road. You see there's transformers, there's dumpsters, there's a lot of old conduit. Half of that's not even usable, storm shutters that have been up there for probably 20, 30 years. The VIA actually will come right through where those 2 storm shutters are. It'll be about 20 foot tall and 17 foot wide. But we're hoping that the transformation of the back of this building into a new street front will really come along and be something more along the lines here. The tree sits right where those transformers and dumpsters are. The all-day cafe that's shown on the right is really the original SCORE building, which backs right up to the street. But let me let Jackie jump into all the design details, and I thank you for your time.
Good morning, everyone. Jacqueline Gonzalez Tuzet, Principal, Tuzet Studio, 1501 Southwest 8th Street, Miami, and it's such a pleasure to be here today. Can you hear me? This is an unusual project for us. It's less about building, frankly, and more about placemaking, and we think that's actually a really exciting and wonderful thing. We've been very privileged to work with Michael on 3 buildings on Lincoln Road previously, Apple, Nike, and Gap. And for us, we think this is going to be really impactful and important, and we're really just honored to be on this team. With me today is my partner Carlos, and our team members and our fellow architect, Jose Gomez, and the landscape architect, who is also here because landscape is such an integral part of what we're trying to do with the space. Michael's already introduced the scope, and I'm just going to take you through it quickly. If you have any questions afterwards, I'd be more than happy to go through, but I just want to kind of explain what we're trying to do. As mentioned, this is essentially a space that was derelict and abandoned and for cars, service, and garbage. And what we're trying to do is make it a people-centric, human-scaled space and a nice counterpoint. We already have a pedestrian mall that's world-class in Lincoln Road. So what we were trying to create is a nice counterpoint, a shady oasis, a more human-centered, smaller-scaled space just off of Lincoln Road, something that you would discover. Michael likes to call it a street off the street. And it's like many places, for example, in Palm Beach, you go through a villa and then you discover a plaza and then you discover another layer. Our hope is to add yet another layer to the experience of Lincoln Road that's complementary. When we were designing it, and this is something that we can get into further later, it's an incredibly big lift to do this because we have to reroute all the service. You can see here. The garbage has now been taken inside to these, I don't know, you can't really see it on that, but maybe. Computer mouse. Computer mouse. Okay, there we go.
Andres, hey.
So the gray areas show you what we're trying to, and I hate to start with garbage, but actually the utilitarian part of this is an important piece to kind of show you how carefully it's had to be rerouted. All of this is getting taken to the eatery building, which has the far bigger garbage area. So at night, these functions will be taken care of and moved over here, but there's a substantial trash room being developed and a service alley that feeds all of these retailers. So all of that has been internalized now. As Michael mentioned, a lot of the MEP stuff and FP&L wasn't needed, and they have been in conversation for over a year now with FP&L to reroute and to relocate those services. So in order to even do the beautifying, we had to really solve for some of these functional bits. The pedestrianization was a really important and interesting layer. And part of the reason we did it, frankly, is because we wanted more shade trees. We wanted bigger trees. And in order to have space for trees and people, you need to get rid of the cars. So we do have the arrival area on both sides still viable for drop-off on this side and on the Meridian where the street improvements are happening. But what's nice is that you can park your bike. The Meridian is a bike lane, bike corridor. You can now park it and walk into a beautiful pedestrian area. If you're coming from the convention center, you, instead of finding a derelict alley as your foreground to the experience of Lincoln Road, now you're finding a shady urban plaza to go into and filter to Lincoln Road either through the Villa or through Meridian Avenue. So the pink areas are the areas that we were imagining would be more for a congregation and people. The green areas are areas that we were allocating for a substantial tree canopy that we're trying to bring here. A lot of it natives and not just the same street tree repeated, but a variety of different trees that are mostly natives. This is again what's there now. And this is what we were imagining. In addition to the trees, native landscaping, hopefully habitat for pollinators, and space for our furry friends and fountains. And inside the villa, there will be fans. We are locals here. We know what climate looks like, and we know that no one's going to hang out here if it's not cool. And climate change is real, so bringing down the temperature is really, really important. And again, it might be odd to have an architect stand here and be very effusive about trees, but really that is one of the things that we think is really, really cool and special about this project. As far as the palette goes, you can kind of start to see it in that image with the dogs, but we love the herringbone pattern of the bricks, and we brought some of the samples here. Lincoln Road is, again, this is a study of contrast. Lincoln Road has very few shade trees at all. They're almost all palm trees, so it's actually really uncomfortable sometimes during the year to walk a substantial amount of time because it gets quite hot. So this will be shadier. Instead of painted surfaces, we're looking for tactile surfaces like brick. And we're going to arrange them in different patterns and break up the pattern so that it's, again, more human scaled. And the materiality of the fountain, we're going to bring in a eulithic stone, and we're going to tile the fountain. So these little human gestures and human-scaled moments are intended to kind of be a nice counterpoint. But we're going to stay with the black and white palette and the gray. So we're not deviating in terms of color, but we are deviating in terms of materiality. Here you can see the inspiration deck that we showed Michael when we started looking at what to do with the eatery building. It's a fine building, it's a new building, and we're not here to throw away or discard other people's work, but we do feel that if we're going to go green with this pedestrian area, it would benefit from some planting. So all of our alterations to the building really have to do with how do we plant more on the building and bring down the scale a little bit, and I'll show you what that means. Here you can see the hardscape. At the Via, we're proposing, in the tradition of grand sort of arcades, a lot of the times you would celebrate the floor and do a special pattern. And we thought in the spirit of discovery, it'd be kind of fun to be walking down Lincoln Road and then see a little bit of a black and white floor, a special floor, that you can get a peek that something's happening there, and then discover the micro retailers, and then later on the plaza, and then later on the street. So it's a series of discoveries that we're hoping people will make. And that means you have to pay attention to those human scale details like benches. We're proposing that each retailer have a moment of terrazzo, because we love that tradition in Miami Beach. So at their storefront, they get a chance to kind of, in the black and white language, still kind of do an inlay, if you will, like many of the other retailers used to do that we love. So here it is, what we're working with now, lots of cars. And this is what we're proposing. The banding kind of breaks up the patterns, and then we do a special pattern in the plaza and on the corners to try to almost do like inlays of pattern on a neutral base. So already retail tends to bring its own colors and its own branding, so we purposely kept the palette neutral. And you can see with the trees, what they're starting to do is create the water off of that building is always going to be filtering from the edge, so we had to keep the green edge for percolation purposes. They are improving the drainage of the site, which is really great, and the trees are only going to help that, because the trees will hold the water and then slowly release it. And that's what it looks like with the canopy. And so we're trying to do one large tree. We're in conversations with the park system to see if we can get a specimen that they don't want that's in the wrong spot and bring it over here. But the idea is to plant mature trees and trees like gumbo limbos that will grow rapidly to get that canopy as lush and as shady as possible, because the success, again, of the space really depends on bringing down the temperature. And then so for the building itself, just to go through really quickly again, the building is staying, we're not touching or altering the architecture, but it is designed as an eatery building. And that means that the function it was almost like a food hall or a mall that was facing inward and away from the street. So now that we're doing these alterations to the street and making it people-friendly, we want to be able to have retailers that can be engaging with that and activating that as well. This is not part of our scope, but just to tell you that Michael's also greening this facade, so it's going to be a whole experience from Meridian all the way into so this is the building that we're talking about. The eatery building has got the louvers and the colors and the glass box, but you can see that the canopy is 15 feet high, and there's no, can I just go on just a little bit?
2 minutes.
2 more minutes?
Thank you, ma'am.
So what we did is, because it's one long horizontal move, we added trellis columns to add the planting and vegetation, because planting, as we learned from our landscape friends, grows best from the ground. So the trellis columns gives an opportunity for that planting to grow from the ground. And we also complemented it with planting on the eyebrow itself. So this is what it is now. You can see, and we added doorways into the facade, because currently those doors are not there. We're adding them so that we can access. This is what you can see on the top is what's there, and on the bottom is what we're proposing. So more a rhythm of doors and these rhythm of sort of trellis columns, which are intended to be fairly transparent aluminum, and the vines will grow on them, and then join with a landscape edge that we're also adding on the tip of the eyebrow. So those layers of planting hopefully will result in something that looks like this. And then we're doing that same planting edge on the next layer. And we're hoping that this kind of gives, without doing too much to the building, without affecting the architecture, it's already been approved, and being respectful of that, gives it a little bit more of a green edge, gives it a little bit more texture. So this is just really quick that's throwing me off with the letters, so I can. I'm going to look over there. You can see, so there's the trellis column, and then the plants will go from the bottom up and then from the top down, which we've discovered is a better way of getting the landscape edge to work. And then there's another landscape edge on the top there. It's a metal planter planted behind, anchored down, which we've done successfully before. And then we're going to do the festoon lighting, we're going to do the uplighting and the moonlighting from the trees so that at night it also comes alive. And this is the vision. So bear in mind that Meridian is also getting planted. So as you're going down Meridian, which is traditionally a very shady street, you're going to find a shady opening and continue in that vein down the street. So our hope is to sort of link to what's happening to Meridian. You can see before and after on these images, hopefully. And then the turnaround, where we said is one of the areas to drop off. It's a beautiful building. It was an incredible building. So framing that entry with landscape, and I'm done here. I'm just going to quickly go. But, you know, I'm happy to answer any questions. This is some of the hardscape patterns. And the lighting, again, very conducive to people hanging out outside, nothing that's glaring in your face. We're going to do the blade signs, very discreet, up and down lighting, moon lighting, and festoon lighting, just something that's soft and really human scaled. And this is day and night, and same thing. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the additional time. We're here for your questions.
Thank you. Do we have anybody online or anybody from the public?
If you're online and you'd like to speak, please raise your hand. I see no hands raised.
Okay. One person from the public here.
Ma'am, have you been sworn in?
Good morning, Chair, members, staff.
Ma'am, have you been
Annabelle Yopes, I
sworn
am
in?
the Executive Director.
I don't believe you were sworn in when I when we
No,
started the meeting.
no.
So if you could please just raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the testimony you'll be giving in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes to address the board, and if you could start by telling us your name and your address.
Sure. Annabelle Yopes, Executive Director for the Lincoln Road Business Improvement District.
Thank
Good
you.
morning, all. I'm here on behalf of the board from Lincoln Road to express our support and excitement for this amazing development and redevelopment on Lincoln Road. Noli is probably one of the most significant developments that we have seen for Lincoln Road in decades. We feel this is really going to be the catalyst that sets Lincoln Road off on a trajectory like we haven't seen before. Lincoln Road itself is a beautiful destination and district, but it's in need of a renovation, of really looking at the district with a new set of eyes. This via, this plaza, this development really brings a fresh look and a fresh experience for not only our residents of Miami Beach, but also for our visitors who come here. It gives the local reasons to come back to Lincoln Road, experience Lincoln Road in a different way, have a place where they can have a respite when they're going on Lincoln Road. So we're extremely excited about this, and we hope that you feel the same way, and we're excited to see Michael move forward with this development. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
And just to further augment the support, Michael Commerce went out and expressed to all the stakeholders there, please come and support me, and he was able to obtain 8 letters of support that has been submitted to the hearing file.
Thank you. Michael, I haven't seen you in quite a while, and you probably don't recognize me anymore either, but this is a beautiful project and a much-needed project, and hopefully we'll have a Via Soli sometime soon as well. I have, and I think it'll be highly used by many of the tourists that we have, but also the residents. And very much needed. That alley is quite an eyesore, and it backs into this eatery that stays empty most of the time because of this eyesore, I think. So my only question is, I know that there is limited parking on that lane, on that alley. What has been done with that parking? Is it going to be replaced elsewhere? And will that alley remain public street, public right-of-way that will be, I guess, maintained by the city or by Comras? Is it going to be leased out as we lease out space, sidewalk cafes on Lincoln Road? If you can speak to that, please. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. So the parking would be relocated into the neighboring garages. Immediately adjacent to the property to the east is the 1,500-car parking garage, and then just east of that is the additional 500-car parking garage that supports the Symphony. And then we have about 150 cars of surface parking just immediately to the west, behind the 800 Lincoln Road building. So we've been working very closely with the administration on dealing with all the issues associated with Lincoln Lane. Our goal is really to work together and collaborate on how this lane will turn for the next evolution. We would be responsible for maintaining the street. We're working through those matters now with a maintenance and improvement agreement with the city. We are looking for an activated plaza. We're not looking for another just quiet plaza or another park. We have plenty of plazas and plenty of parks. What we're really trying to do is provide an experience and really trying to create an area where there's always a sense of discovery. And that starts with the Via, or it starts with whether you're entering from Meridian Court or from Meridian Avenue. No matter how you approach the district, you're going to find something that you wouldn't otherwise expect. And so we're excited to get in there, get working, and this is something that really is a collaboration between the city and our firm.
I know that there's very limited parking there. We're only talking about 4 or 5 spaces, which I'm sure can be accommodated in any of the garages, even though the garage to the east is being redone for, I
Padel.
forget if it's Padel or...
Padel.
Padel courts,
Not
yeah.
pickle,
yeah,
Padel.
just the roof of it. But there's also something very interesting that should be brought up, that as the convention center and the hotel open up into more conventions, hopefully, this becomes actually an entrance through Meridian Court for Lincoln Road, and a much enhanced entrance.
Yes.
Beautiful project.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very important. We look at this as sort of the glue that really holds together the new convention center hotel, the expanded convention center, city center, if you will, and coming to Lincoln Road. The fact that it's been allowed to exist like this for so long was surprising to me, and I think that the reaction, once I've brought it to the attention of everybody, has been, what can we do to get rid of this and move this project forward? So I appreciate your comments. Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
Hi, Michael, it's a great project, and as somebody who has 20-something children, you've given them a space to gather and create community, and I think it's wonderful. Thank you. I don't think I understood that the Lincoln Road Eatery was going to be reimagined, not the exterior, which looks beautiful, by the way. Just out of curiosity, what is your vision for the interior? And I'm curious because how it relates to these kind of boutique experiences outside of it.
So we have not made a final determination on the uses that go into the ground floor of that particular building. We're actually in the market now exploring different opportunities. We do believe it'll be a mix of fashion, food and beverage, but we do believe that the eatery in its current state is not really productive and really doesn't, as it was put before, it really is internally facing as opposed to externally facing. So I think there's a lot that needs to be done there to improve it and make it really integrated and part of the village.
I agree. I'm glad to hear that. Congratulations on a beautiful project.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have to second that this is one of the more beautiful projects I've seen this year. So I have no comments other than you should hopefully start soon.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with everybody here as well. Just commend you on reorientating the tenant spaces. I think that really invites a nice breadth of difference in shopping experiences or eating experiences for those. So I really love that. And I was also happy to hear your comment about the maturity of the trees. I do think that's probably critical to set this inviting space. So yeah, agreed. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sure. Great job, great presentation. I knew it was going to be a great presentation, and congrats to your work in Coconut Grove. You've helped bring Coconut Grove back to life. We love what you've done over there. And to echo some of those statements, you know, the avenue of Drexel, Pennsylvania are nice avenues to go into Lincoln Road, but Euclid is going to be an amazing addition to that, in that walkway. Now that I understand, you had mentioned the doorways going into the eatery, and I was like, what are you gonna do if they're the backs of a lot of the restaurants? But now I understand that you're gonna change that concept, which is a nice idea. Probably good to have some type of food involved in there as well. Regarding the stones and the pavers, hope you don't do something like more of what was done on Lincoln Road, on the west side of Lincoln Road, with those pavers that are very hard to walk on. So as long as that's the case, it'll be great. And I really see this. I love going to Española Way and eating at Española Way all the time. I see this as a second Española Way-ish concept. I also see this as Girarda and Coral Gables that opened up in 2017, and then they did that whole entire umbrella exhibit in 2018, which got a lot of fanfare. This is a very similar concept to Girarda, and probably a little bit of a smaller scale, but it gives you that feel, and that I think is one of the closest representations of what I envision this is going to be like. And it's a great addition to the beach and to the walkway, and that whole entire area is going to get energized. One of the reasons why I think that eatery has not been very successful is because when you're there, you don't have a good feeling of being out there in that area because of that surroundings, and you're going to drastically change that. So congrats. I think it's a great addition to Lincoln Road. Great job, team, all of you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, you've heard from everybody of their support, which is great. I just had one question, which was just for me. How much of some of the new spaces will have second floor activation, where like the restaurants will have second floors and or shops will have second floors that will activate a little bit higher up or facing down? I was just curious.
Yeah, so we've focused a lot about the vertical nature of the property. A lot of these buildings were built back in the late 20s, 30s, 40s, and there was a very dominant ceiling height at that time of 20 feet. And while there were a lot of mezzanines in these buildings, and in order to make an effective mezzanine, it generally needs about 8 feet. When you take your structure into consideration for the ground floor, it ends up only being like 10 feet. So then what ends up happening is you get 2 bad floors as opposed to 1 good floor. So we ended up eliminating a lot of the mezzanine spaces, and we're actually creating smaller mezzanines and more remote for more storage. There is a rooftop that we are creating along the via. So if you, let's see, it's not up. Anyway, the via will have here we go. You can actually see, if you look up the via, you can see at the front, there's a 15-foot ceiling height, and the via then rises up to 20 feet. The restaurant that will front Lincoln Road will actually have outdoor seating out into the promenade as well as into the via, but also will have an access point up to an upper level with a stair and an elevator to provide a rooftop which would overlook the entrance to the via facing Lincoln Road. And then as you can see in this elevation, it would also look north up the via towards the trees to the north. So we don't have a lot of those upper levels that we were able to take advantage of. We are still considering some other rooftops on some of the buildings, and those will be tenant dependent.
Gotcha. No, I think that would be nice to have something raised up and activating sort of on the higher level.
Chair, I'm sorry, quick question.
Go ahead.
The rooftop of the eatery, is that going to be activated in a different way?
Yes, I missed the rooftop of the eatery. The eatery has about an 8,000 or 10,000 square foot rooftop, which would also be activated, and that'll be related to one of the tenants in the building ultimately, but that would be activated. We've also looked at adding a rooftop onto the former Miss Yip's restaurant space, which is on the corner of Lincoln Lane off Meridian Avenue. So these are things that are all being worked on and studied, but again, very much driven by tenant needs and demands.
Great. And the water features, are those in the plan? I see them in the renderings.
Yes, of course. So to me, the trees, the shade, having a water feature, having an area for people to bring their dogs or their pets to the area, a place where the dogs can get some water. Again, it's super hot here. We all know the lifestyle here, and a lot of people push strollers. A lot of people push strollers with dogs in them. We want people to just come and hang out and feel fresh. The noise of water and fountains, I think, is very charming, along with the trees and the vines and the flowers and so on. So we're really trying to make it a place where people will want to hang out.
Chair, I have one last question. So the Lincoln Lane provides for trucks, access, deliveries, all these things to all these storefronts. Where is that going to happen? Or where would the trucks stage to move all this deliveries, food, merchandising to all these new storefronts that are there?
Let's see, do we have the floor plan?
Basically, on this side and on this side. So they can stage here, and this gray is the circulation.
There we go.
But that's the circulation to go into the garage, and also you're saying on the edge of Meridian, on the entrance of the walkway?
The trucks will be here.
That's the circulation to go into that garage too, right?
No, the circulation really enters on 17th Street.
No, I'm saying there's a garage entrance there on Lincoln Lane and Euclid.
There is, but it's a little bit further past that rotunda that's there, a little bit more towards the south.
Correct.
Not much, but it is a little bit more towards the
Right,
south.
it's diagonally. I'm just saying that there should be some type of illustration expanding that diagram a little bit more, showing how that staging is going to look like on both sides, because obviously there's going to be a lot of drop off there for food, merchandising, and all that stuff. And how, I don't know if we saw that there.
So if you, over here, there we go.
Can you zoom into that, please? That corner.
Zoom, no, but it's over here. There's loading there.
Oh, okay, you can't zoom.
It could have.
Oh, there we go.
There you-
Okay.
yeah.
So basically.
How does a
this
car go
area-
around that circular if
This
there's
is
a
the
truck?
circle, right? So the area for loading and drop-off would occur along here, which leaves open this area, the drive lane, for people to bypass. In addition, we have a huge loading area within the 723 building up here. So.
I'm just saying, I don't see a way of car going by that truck if it's stopped there in that circulation.
Yeah, I don't have the dimensions here, but yes, we've sort of done it where the cars would come down here and pass by
As in
here.
concept, I think that this is amazing. This is a home run. I'm just saying that I think that somebody has to evaluate, because one of the biggest complaints that people get all the time on the beach is, why is this truck stopped in the middle of the street? Why is this delivery not happening? Why are we not ticketing these delivery people? And if you don't create a proper space for them to do their deliveries, and it's not going to be 30 seconds, it's going to be, 10, 15 minutes, that just has to be thought of.
Yeah, I mean, Andres brings up a very important point, which I had thought of and forgot to bring it up, but deliveries are, I think, need to be thought out a little bit more, for two reasons. On Meridian, it's almost impossible to do a delivery because of all the traffic that's there. And then on Meridian Court, what could be the connection to the convention center and convention center hotel, it's now going to become the loading area. And it does, I don't think the entrance to the garage is going to be a problem there, because I don't think that entrance is utilized that much, especially when everybody's coming in, for the most part, through 17th Street. But I think some thought could be given to that area to not do the deliveries so much through that rotunda, parking of a truck in the rotunda.
One question.
I'm sorry?
Isn't our position to comment on the operations and the strategy of that?
I don't think so.
I don't think that has to do anything with the design. So why are we commenting about their operations?
We bring it up because I think that Design Review Board does have, and Rogelio and I spoke about this the other day on another project, but we do have the ability or one of our assignments as a board is to look at the locations of things.
Okay.
And this, Rogelio, am I wrong or right? Am I stretching what you said?
So the board does approve the site plan, so if the site plan's being modified to move loading and where the best location for things would be, that would be under your purview. This building, however, does have neighborhood impact establishment. I believe the structure is over 50,000 square feet. Is there, no, you know what? There is no, it's not over. So there is a conditional use permit for there being a neighborhood impact establishment on the site. And so if that is modified, it will likely have to go to the planning board to modify those, the uses inside, or unless the use is cut up. And the planning board is the board that's really charged with looking at loading and operations of the structure.
I'm sorry, I'm just flagging it, just because.
No,
it's something
I'm not.
When
yeah,
when I
feel
look
free.
at Google Earth and I look at that intersection, that's kind of tight. So when you put that circular,
Well,
area there,
we're very happy to sit with the transportation department. There's all sorts of sophisticated software which encompasses turning radii of all different types of trucks and cars. So we can sit with our traffic engineer and transportation department and easily resolve any potential
and
conflict.
by the way, there might be an additional solution is to create those loading areas on Euclid right off of Lincoln Lane so that you don't also block that circular area, because you're going to have some of the, I think you said some of the trash area is going to be moved to the Euclid side. Did you say that? Or
Yeah, and I do appreciate everyone's input on this, because we all have to live with this when it's done. This is not just being done in a vacuum. So I'm open to all of these types of points. It's very well taken. We have focused quite a bit on deliveries and trash and service types of things. So we do have a loading space along Meridian, which is 2.5 or 3 spaces approximately right at the end, and it's set in off of Meridian Avenue.
Let me explain.
And then, I'm sorry, then the other thing I just want to say is that the area along Meridian Court also would be done. But these are things that we're working through to really get to the optimal with our engineers and
For sure.
and with transportation. But Jose?
But I just want to mention, Jose Gomez, Bells and Gomez Architects, I just want to mention, if you look into the 723 building, it's got a very large loading and unloading and garbage pickup zone. It's very difficult to see. There you go, that portion on the very top. You see where the 2 doors are? 2 large roll-up doors. So trucks can go in there, they back into that area, they go in there, they load, unload, pick up trash. So you have 2 indoor spaces for 723, which they have today. That's there
That's great.
today.
I would then move that depiction of the loading truck from the circular
Okay,
to that area,
I
right?
think we all kind of forgot about it, but they're there. It was part of the 723 building.
We have to show the.
It's existing.
Yeah, but I'm saying you could show that it could drive through there, but not to stop and load and unload there.
No, they can go inside the building.
No, I'm talking about what you're saying, that you're
On the
depicting it
rotunda.
on the circular
Yeah,
plaza.
that's just an additional area that it could be a fire emergency vehicle can
Right.
park there. But we do have existing loading areas within the building.
Which will be great.
Great. Thank you, Jose.
I think given the caliber of the tenants and what's going to be happening here, that trucks in the middle of the day and affecting pedestrians. And
No, it's a fact that it
It's gonna
happens
be-
as a problem throughout the whole entire city. So I have no doubt on Michael's ability to create an very incredible space. I'm just simply stating the obvious, that we just have to try to solve that problem the best way possible.
Yeah, the consolidation of the garbage was one of my
Yeah.
concerns, and they've addressed it with it all going into 723 and having indoor, no more dumpsters outside to make everything smell, and everyone will have each store will have a sizable push cart, which makes everything a lot more pedestrian
Or
friendly.
deliveries.
Yeah, same with deliveries, exactly. That's the only way they're gonna get back in there. Again, I think the project is well received, it's beautiful, it's gonna be a huge improvement to the city and the area, and I think the board is, I would say, is unanimously in favor for it. If someone wants to
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Yeah. We have a motion by Mr. Lester, a second by Ms. Butagaboli. All those in favor?
Aye.
Big yes.
Opposed?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
Look forward to getting this done.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Close vote, but I'm glad it was. Glad they got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
You guys are doing amazing work. Thank you.
Are those yours? Guys, do we have an easel that he could use? Do we have an easel here?
Are those your samples?
Nope, they're not. I got a drop on. No, just one. No, wait, no, those are mine. Wait, those are mine. Those. Oh, these are yours. I'll take them over and call you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah, I just love this project so much. Hopefully we'll be working with you all.
Congratulations. Okay. Appreciate it.
Bring it up. 65.
Nothing, we're still completely on the operations and the parking. Back to the parking area. That overshadow.
Yeah.
Design. Right. Nice. Which is an just needs to be the whole site plan.
Tell me if I'm wrong, it's how site plan includes or encompasses how a project within a private property correlates with the rest of its surroundings. Yeah. How it impacts and contributes to it. The other day, that street totally blocked. Not because of construction, deliveries, bus, everything was going on. Oh, yeah, at 4 o'clock in the morning. Nothing was
Monday, I'm thinking, can I do it Monday or just, you guys are the office on Monday?
Yeah, no, all the loading is, in the operations so zoning code covers, they have loading requirements. That's going to be addressed as part of the building permit process and larger projects go through the plan. This project's already there, so they already have it, they have, it's all set up, it's not, that's not moving. And that wouldn't make it too, I walk by every day.
When I saw that showed me, I was like, yeah,
It's probably the largest living bay of Lincoln Road, anywhere on Lincoln Road.
No, your copies are I'm
Coming into my office, you see them all over.
everyone's house like
My house, you're right, I've got more in my house.
Well, I'm not Florida though. I never had to take these.
But I'm chair.
Yeah.
We'll hear this next project when everybody's done getting their coffee.
I've seen them more this year than we ever have, so something changed, they came from somewhere.
Well, yeah, those someday, yeah. We still.
I just tested my house for termites last week. I got termites in. But these little fruit flies somehow came right back. The ones, the drywood termites, they wrecked my attic. Oh, those are hard to get.
I had Airbnb. I had Airbnb that reminds me like in dusk, I guess.
We just do the deal. Exactly,
Sure, cockroach, I don't like cockroach, I hate cockroach, but you're not ruining my wood.
That's true.
You're not eating my house. Yeah. Next month will be a longer meeting.
He's not.
Just have a couple more projects. We'll have the community center, we'll have,
I'll ask you later my question.
Okay. I think we can start with the next project. 792 or 792.8.
Okay, so we have DRB 26-1165. It's 7928 Byron Avenue. An application has been filed requesting design review approval for the construction of a new 4-story multifamily building with one or more waivers to replace an existing residence. This is a site in the RM1 zoning district. It has a lot size of 5,650 square feet, so it's a standard single lot in the North Beach area. It is located in the North Beach National Register Overlay District. So there are some additional regulations that they have to follow beyond the standard RM1 regulations. The applicant is proposing a building with an FAR of 1.19. So it's about it'll be a 7,062 square foot building. The applicant submitted plans. It's titled Lullaby Condominium Residences. And so the project will consist of 4 residential units. The units consist of a main floor and a mezzanine area which will have a bedroom. The ground floor will contain 8 parking spaces. And so the building will have a single stair corridor. Sorry. Oh, I know. There will be a single stair corridor in the middle, and then the ground floor will have the parking, and the residential units will be above. The building will be designed in a contemporary style, primarily finished in a smooth white stucco, which with contrast with materials and accents and other details. It's composed of 2 distinct massing elements. The lower level with parking will be more transparent, and then the taller central mass will be set back 35 feet, which is one of the requirements of the North Beach National Register overlay. The front component stays within that's taller, stays within the maximum 32-foot allowable height, and then the mass that's set back will go up to 45 feet. The front elevation facing Byron Avenue is defined by very wide projecting stucco balconies with landscape planters at each floor. It creates strong horizontal bands across the facade. However, staff believes that the balconies are a little bit overwhelming for the facade, and so we have two options that we're recommending. One, that the upper level balcony be recessed a little bit more, or alternatively, that the applicant considers using some glass railings in order to soften the impact of those balconies somewhat. So those are some of the options that we've looked at there. Behind the recessed level behind the balcony plane, there's a rounded champagne metal staircase landing projecting up at each level with a vertical counterpoint. So there's in between the horizontal balconies. At the garage level, there is the applicant is proposing an open square metal grid system. Staff is recommending that the grid pattern be made more compact at that ground level in order to minimize light glare on adjacent properties and minimize views into the parking area. The applicant is also requesting a waiver. The waiver is for the ground floor clearance. The code requires that there be a minimum 12-foot height clearance above the base flood elevation. Given that the ground floor is just parking, this is a requirement that's typically intended to ensure that interior spaces have sufficient room in the future as the city raises the streets. But since this is just parking, there is sufficient space for that parking to be raised without any creating any issues. And so that would be a waiver of 1 foot 2 inches for that vertical clearance requirement. Staff is supportive of the granting of the waiver. So with the 2 changes, that the balconies be adjusted somewhat and the grid pattern at the ground floor change, staff is supportive of the project. There is one zoning concern. So you can see in the facade that there is a column that goes from the ground up to the upper level balcony. Given that that is that is supporting the balcony, that would require that that balcony be treated as FAR. It would not be a self-supporting balcony. It doesn't comply with the definition of a balcony, so it would be required to be part of FAR. So staff recommends that that column either be reduced and disconnected from the balcony so that it be a self-supporting balcony, or be removed altogether. But that's a zoning concern that we can deal with at permitting, that will have to be addressed. So with that, staff recommends that the application be approved.
Are there any disclosures from the board before we begin? No. Okay, thank you. 10 minutes?
I have not been sworn in.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll be giving in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Is 10 minutes enough?
Yeah, that should
Okay.
do, I think, I hope. So Jose Carlo, a longtime resident of Miami Beach and also the architect for the project. So this project is located in an up-and-coming neighborhood. It is a neighborhood that is, I think, in the early stages of what it will become, and it is a neighborhood that has a lot of potential. It was mostly developed in the 50s, 60s, and in the 70s, and what you find in the area around it, and can you see my PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So what you see in the areas around it are the typical punch-through buildings, CMU facades with rectangular windows throughout. And really what's happened is that that has become an outdated kind of product, for today's lifestyle. So one of the things that we wanted to do was to help with that improvement and with the reinvestment in the area. So we worked on a project that was a lot more dynamic. Sorry. And one of the things that Rogelio mentioned was the facade and the bands that go across it. The idea behind the design was that there are bands that move in different directions at different times. So you have, for example, the bands at the upper balcony level that are parallel to the street. You have also, if you look at the side view of the building, so you have here the bands that run perpendicular to the street, and as mentioned, the column that runs vertically. So the idea is that as you walk along the street and you see the building, these planes intersect and seem to be moving. And again, that was one of the main purposes of the design, to go ahead and inject some vitality, not only into the building, but also into the neighborhood and the streets. Along those lines, one of the things that we did is that we shifted the building as far back as possible with a 35-foot setback, so that the main mass of the building is all set back further from the street, and then we had the balconies that were projecting forward. And part of the idea of that was that there would be activity along the street. Right now, nobody walks along that street. Basically, there's someone who might go by to walk their dog to the park that's about 100 yards away, but otherwise the street is very stark. So we need to keep in mind that those balconies would help to inject, again, some activity, some life into the street and into the neighborhood. Another reason for the setback is also, if you look at that view, that the views to the west are spectacular. The views to the west are really something special. And also, meanwhile, if you look, that's the view to the east, you see that there's a, let's say, a very large concrete structure that's blocking the view. So, also in terms of the design, we kept not only in mind the whole urban scale of the project, but also the human scale. So along those lines, as you can see, there is a garden that we left in front of the building. Instead of bringing the fence all the way forward, we left what would really be a small garden that could be appreciated by the entire by the neighbors, basically. And there's also some other smaller details, like there's a tree in the back of the building that has a framed view that you can see from the street. We took another detail is the slats on the gate. They're 1x6 slats instead of the typical picket gate, so that it hides the parking better and so on. But let's see. I'm thinking that maybe we should skip forward to the main comments that Rogelio mentioned. And really, again, as far as the balconies are concerned, we think that the bands are a strong element of the design. We really think that the whole idea, again, of the moving planes, intersecting planes, and the idea that it's a dynamic building as you look through it, we really think that that's a benefit to the project and to the design. As far as the grid along the lower level, absolutely, there's no issue there with making the grid more dense. And then one thing I would like to mention is that we thought that adding that vertical column to the second floor balcony, we thought that was open to the sky. So that's and that as such, it would not count as FAR.
As a terrace, for it to be a terrace, it would have to be underneath floor area to not count as FARs. It is projecting. It's not self-supporting, so a balcony has to be self-supporting. If there is a column supporting it, that does count as FAR.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we are looking at balconies, if they have columns, we typically count everything on the outside face of the columns as not counting it towards FAR, but everything inward of the column counts as FAR. In this case, the column is at the very end of it, so everything inward of that column would count as FAR.
Okay. Well, we'll adjust it as necessary. So again, I'll just wrap it up, really, is the point being that we think that the design as it is lively, dynamic, that it is a benefit to the neighborhood. We'd prefer to keep it as is. And I think that's pretty much it. I won't go into the details behind it and so on. I think that's that's about it. I think I'll wrap it up with that.
Okay. Anybody from the public?
Anybody
Or,
online?
yeah, anybody online?
If you're online and you'd like to speak, please raise your hand. We have Patricio Dominguez.
Go ahead, Patricia.
Patricio?
Hello, good evening.
Yep, before you address the board, I need to swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll be giving in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Hi, sir.
Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to address the board. Proceed when you're ready.
Good evening. Regarding the column that it was spoken about during the presentation, I would like to say that in the columns, in the terraces on the opposite side of the column, we see that the own terrace is self-supporting. So the column in this scenario would only act as a mere decorative element, not as a structural.
Okay, we can discuss that. We're going to get more details as you proceed with building permitting, but we do want to make you aware that could be an issue moving forward. Maybe there's a solution there, but in our initial review, it looked like it would count towards FAR.
Okay. Also, the terrace, which is on the ground level, on the bottom level of the 2 apartments, that would be completely excluded from the pillar, so it won't be touching on any sides. If you see in the floor plan, you will be able to see that there is a small setback regarding the pillar, so that it's completely exempt of that element.
Yes. Yeah, we were only looking at it at the upper level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just have some questions. You have a board here with material. Can you?
Oh, sorry, I apologize. Before we proceed, are we okay with closing the public hearing? I apologize for interrupting.
Okay. So can you tell us where these materials will be utilized and what
Yeah,
kind of
of
materials they are?
Of course. So basically, at the front, like I said, we're creating a garden, and we'll have a planter. We have what we call the logo wall here, and that will be covered in the polystone, also known as suban. And the idea there is to create a highlight at the entrance and also something that will complement the colors throughout. This is actually a composite. It's a synthetic material that's meant to look like wood. And that's what will be covering the column and also the underside of the balconies and also the slats of the pergolas. So the idea there is to soften the building. It's a very angular building. We want to not have it, not give it a stark appearance. The glass will be the gray glass throughout, so all the windows throughout the entire project. There'll be, thank you. There'll be, the windows will have the white frames, simple white frames, as well the simple metal white frame here and here. Then this will be the ceramic tile that will be used in both the terraces and the lobby and the public spaces of the building. And this will be used inside of the walls of the lobby. It's the same material but with a different texture. And then we have the champagne color, the metallic champagne color at the stairs. And finally, the one of the standard approved Miami Beach colors, one of the versions of the white for the building. The entirety of the building, all stucco areas will be will receive the white paint.
Thank you. And that champagne color you said is in the stairwells, but I don't see the stairwells.
It's here.
Oh, I see. Yes.
It's basically
Yes. Yeah.
the semicircles. What you would see mostly is the semicircles as they project out. The stairs are partly inset, but the landing, the circular landing, it projects out.
The planning department is recommending the terraces to be glass. Am I correct, Rogelio?
Either glass or recessed a little bit more.
Oh.
We feel that given their large scale, that it's a bit imposing on the street, so.
You're talking about the balcony closest to the roof?
We're talking.
Correct.
That one?
Yeah.
This one.
Are you all opposed to making those changes?
Opposed is a strong word, but yeah, we definitely think that the bands, like I mentioned, you have the bands that go back toward the rear of the site. You have the bands that move across, parallel to the street. You have this one here. You have this one here. So again, the idea is to make it dynamic. As you walk down the street and you look up at the building, these will always seem to be shifting.
Continuity.
So it's what gives life to the facade. So yeah, we would have a strong preference for keeping it.
Thank you.
While we're on the materials, can I ask, apologies if you said, but the wood paneling on the column, is that also used on the ceilings? Is that the same material?
It's on the same materials on the columns, on the underside of the balconies, and then also in the slats of the eyebrow and the slats of the trellises.
Okay. Is that material used anywhere else or just in those spots? Like on the sides or just?
No,
okay.
just in the facade, in the front facade.
Okay, thank you.
Question for the garage understory.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of materials being used for it? Is it a metal grate that?
Yeah, that's a metal grate also.
On the side, on the
and then
elevation side?
here,
Yes.
the quadricular grid. Yes, it's the same finish, the same metal finish as the gate.
And the same pattern?
No,
bars?
Here we used a square pattern, pattern, not just the slats.
I was going to say, hopefully it would not be slats, because that was like that would be kind of like an old veranda slash.
No, the slats looked, even though they were very effective in terms of blocking the view and also blocking the sunlight that looked a little harsh.
Yeah, a little harsh, yeah.
Sure.
Hi.
Hello.
This is a neighborhood. This is a residential neighborhood. The building that we see, the tall building there, do you happen to know the year that that was built around?
I'm going to say 70s.
So visually, and I understand this is very subjective, but this new building takes down a little home, and it stands very tall and white and angularly in a residential neighborhood. And the windows on the side of it are on the small side of scale, but they evoke the past of that building. I don't know, a lot of the projects that we've seen that have beautifully kind of integrated the new with a neighborhood kind of community feeling, I guess I'd like to highlight that the color pure white is very pure white, but the overall feeling that I'm trying to convey is that it feels like you're building something that is going to stand apart from the neighborhood as opposed to join the neighborhood with progress and new construction, which I admire and I think is important in this neighborhood, and it's exciting for the neighborhood to get a project of this caliber. It just feels like you're a lone ranger there and not joining, adding value to the neighbors on your left and right.
That's a very valid point, absolutely. And now, as far as like you mentioned, the windows, yes, we wanted to evoke what I call the punch-through windows that you see throughout in all these buildings, and also in the image that I had up earlier. Yes, it absolutely it stands out, but ultimately, like I said, this is an up-and-coming neighborhood, and I think that there will be other buildings of this scale. In fact, there's at least, I would say, a half dozen projects under construction in the area, and a couple more that have already been built. And as over time, I've actually chatted with this neighbor over here, and he's mentioned that he's had offers to buy his house to do similar projects. So I think that absolutely, right now it is out of oversized compared to the neighborhood structures. However, I think that'll change in the near future.
Is there a way to make it a little more friendly looking? For lack of a better analogy, whether it's more green, I'm not sure, increasing the size of the windows so they don't feel so...
Yeah, I mean, absolutely we can look at it, and there's plenty of room in this area to enlarge the windows. So I think right now there are 8-foot wide windows, but you can make maybe 10 feet, and likewise these 3-footers could be wider. We could have more fenestration. One thing that happens though is that it being a 50-foot wide lot, with the setbacks, we end up with only a 35-foot wide building, and that's actually pretty tight for the kind of layout that we're doing. So there's not much room to play in terms of giving the facade, having it jog in and out, having it to add features. We looked at one point at adding step-out balconies. On this side, there's only a 5-foot setback, so we could actually have a 15-inch step-out balcony. But we didn't think it'd really add much, and you'd just be kind of looking over the neighbors. So we looked into it, but there's really, again, it's kind of the constraints of what's there, and there's not much we can do with the side. Along the front, we could look at the landscape. I think landscaping is underrated in general, and I think we could definitely soften the feel and the connection from the building to the lot, and the connection from the building to the street. I think that'd be an effective way of doing that.
Can I ask you a question that in continuation of what was just asked? You're building a 4-story building, and to the south of this property, there is already a 2-story. To the east, there's a 5-story, and to the west, there's a 6-story. But to the north is the single-family residence, which probably with time will disappear and turn into a building. Are there any other single-family residences on that block, other than the one next to the proposed building? Because it seems everything else around you is either a 2-story, a 5-story, a 6-story.
And actually, that is correct. That is correct. And here, both on this side of the street and on that side of the street, there are not any single-family homes left. And what's happening is that, like I said, there's several projects that are already under construction, and we know of a couple of that are in the works.
Sure.
Andres?
I think the design is a nice design. Is this going to be for rental or for a condo?
No, for sale.
For sale.
It's going to be for condominium residences.
I'm going to put on my salesperson hat on because I've sold quite a bit of these. Regarding the windows, on the sliding windows that you have in the living room, you could make them sliding glass doors with a glass panel on the outside so that you could have more light coming into the living room. Because I see that on the floor plan itself, you're depicting.
We're talking about these windows in the front, facing the street?
On the side, facing the side.
Over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are windows on the first floor, correct?
Yes, this is a double height space.
Right, but on the living room area, it's a window.
Uh-huh.
So you can make that a sliding glass door without a balcony, but put a glass partition on the bottom half of it, which will bring you a lot of more light into the unit. It's a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely could be done. However, the reason is planned actually. These are planned as structural beams.
Got it. So you
to
can't
hold the cantilever. So
if you can't do it, you can.
So we'd have to. Yeah.
The other side that I'm thinking about is that I'm looking at your floor plans.
Mhm.
Where are you putting your closets? Just out of curiosity.
There'll be built-ins.
Sorry?
There'll be built-ins.
There'll be built-ins, armoires, kind of like?
No, custom millwork.
For the person who buys it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the dimensions based on the door width and thinking of a king-size bed in there or a queen-size bed. It's going to be tough.
Oh, no, we actually do have the, we did not include it in this presentation, but we do have the interior design laid out. It works out. The plans, the mezzanine level bedroom is meant to be the master bedroom. And then the bedroom in the back is also pretty large sized. The third bedroom is on this, a typical secondary bedroom.
Sounds good. Good luck.
Thanks, everyone. I have some questions and concerns. I'll start with Andres, what you're talking about with layout. Am I correct in saying that the rear bedroom is a double height bedroom?
On the lower level, yes.
The lower level, right.
Yeah, on the lower level, yes, because what happens is that at the upper level, you have a terrace that then leads up to.
I'm just.
But yes, so the lower level, yes, does end up with a double height space.
So you have.
Not the bedroom though, the living room.
No, it's the bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. So at the lower units in the rear, just because of the way that, the mezzanine can only be 1/3 of the size of the lower floor. So with the mezzanine placed where it is, it left a double height space in the rear. In the upper units, that's what would be a double height space was actually made into a terrace that leads up to the roof terrace.
Yeah, I just find that proportions of that room will end up being a little bit odd.
Yeah, they'll be interesting, but it's a quirky project.
Yeah. I also find, I'm not sure that the little corner balconies, those are, again, I'm not trying to critique your layout, but I'm not sure.
We are debating that because ultimately they do count as FAR. So, and I think we even mentioned it back sometime too with Rogelio and Alejandro that those could be enclosed. So we'll look.
Please speak into the microphone.
Oh, sorry, sorry. So yes, so we'll look at making that change.
So I agree with staff on the scale of these balconies and just overall I find that there's there's a lot going on here with these cantilever balconies. I agree with the single column. I didn't quite understand that. But just in general, you have a 20-foot deep balcony with a full parapet. Then you have a mullion shade structure, not even a shade structure, just an element at the break of the two pieces of glass. And then you have a shade structure above. So you've got a thick band, a thin band, a medium band. You have wood. I just find it's a lot going on for me. I appreciate you putting the planters on the ends of the balconies. I think that those would fill in and help soften the edge for sure. But I just there's something proportionately throwing me off with this building. I agree with my colleague next to me about the punch windows on the side facades don't give much of a rhythm. They're really just sort of look like a program, like it's a bedroom, here's a window, and here's a bathroom, here's a small window, and it looks sort of like what you would see in sort of, here's the function inside, here's how we put the window in. So I challenge to sort of create a rhythm. And you talked about the bands and the planes, and I don't see them moving around the side of the building or to the back and breaking up the side facades. When we're in these neighborhoods and we're talking about having low rise next to medium rise and mid rise, you know, the side facade is something to focus on. And I don't know if it needs stucco banding or patterning or something to potentially, I don't know, break up the side facade. I agree with staff on the grid pattern and on the ground level. I think there should be some cohesiveness with the fence and the side grid, a material pattern, something. There needs to be a story there. There's sort of a lot of things going on in this kit apart. I also, I spoke about these small balconies in the back, and then you have a clear story window, again, filling up that double height space. And then there's something about the angled partition between the two private stairs coming up that throws me off. So I know there's pictures of the rear facade, but I can't, there's not really sort of the view of the rear from somebody looking up at it, but I have a feeling it's going to be somewhat substantial. So.
Can I ask you a question? When you talk about the front, would it make sense from an architectural standpoint, that balcony that's closest to the roof, the top balcony, to not have that band go all the way through and have it as two separate balconies with that, when the band in the middle not be there? You know what I'm saying?
On
the top balcony, yeah.
You mean like it's broken below and above?
Yes. Because the balcony on the bottom appears to not have a band that goes across the front. So would it be, from an architectural standpoint, would it make sense to not have the band go across on the top balcony and leave the center that's in a gold color totally open going up?
That would break it up a little bit. I think it also, like, there's something that is the stair, it's an exterior stair, and it could be celebrated a little bit more in breaking up things too. It's you're gonna put the money into the metal, and it has sort of a mid-century kind of vibe to it. But again, the sheer depth of these balconies is gonna sort of overpower everything. And again, they're this offsetness of the one below, and then the wide one, like the upper part, I'm seeing rhythm above, and then it doesn't translate down to the ground, or it doesn't start in the ground. So maybe, Myra, that is something that they can come back and look at in terms of breaking this up a little bit.
If I may address the point about separating the balconies at the top, we did look into it, but what ends up happening, it looks quadriculated. It looks like, there's different pods almost. So that was one of the reasons we actually went and join, bridge the two balconies.
Myra, I wrote the same thing. I think that one of the most successful parts of this building is the staircase, and it kind of becomes hidden by the bands. I do agree with Adam. I think and probably why you added the joinder piece is because it would probably further emphasize the depth and the relation of the building to these very deep balconies. I think that would make them look even more severe, which lends back to I agree with staff too. I just think that these balconies are excessively deep. Like, just because you have to go this deep, it doesn't mean you have to. I also question, and maybe this is a question for you, like would these even be used? They're not to this extent. Like this is a lot of space just in the open sun, east facing. I question if these will be usable spaces.
Well, you're asking
In
me
the
for the sales side
Yeah,
of it.
like
Also,
would-
it's used to promote more live outdoor space, so that you can make the living room feel bigger because it's not sellable square footage. So at the end of the day, the sales team is gonna, design that and make it feel like a second living room on the outside versus on the inside.
And it is usable in the afternoons when the sun is
That's
hitting,
fair. But you
the
have
west.
there's like
Yeah.
no coverage on maybe half the
Half of it,
balcony.
yeah. Roof coverage.
I just question if it's needed, because it does create such a, I mean, it's just, if you set the building back, then why are we bringing the balcony all the way basically to the setback line? I don't know. So I would just consider that. And we had talked about plantings earlier. I had also written that down. I think maybe playing with that, maybe some more vertical trees that would help, like taller palms that could help kind of break up this large structure next to these much smaller structures and kind of flow with the rest of the neighborhood. I don't think a jacaranda is going to get that tall. So, to kind of help break that up, I think that there needs to be some consideration there to kind of just stagger heights and gradually get us down to the street.
So one of the things we worked at is right here, the height of the top of this parapet, of this balcony wall, actually is pretty much the same height as the adjacent building to the south side. And then an important part of the design is just what Andres said, that it is an extension of the living room. We have basically a large living space outside, then we have a glass separation from the inside living room. So the idea is, yes, we want to enhance the exterior space. We want to pull the residents out into that exterior space, and by offering that living space, not just a typical 4-foot, 6-foot balcony, but actually a living space.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. I just question the way it's presented. I mean, I think maybe the first floor units will be more usable, but when you have an eyebrow that only extends halfway on the balcony on an east-facing building, I don't know if that space is in practice going to actually get used. And I'm not saying to bring the eyebrows on the very top longer, because I think that's just going to emphasize our problem. But I don't know. I just think that the design is getting sacrificed for something that maybe is not going to be practically a benefit to the property.
I think you're hitting on it, and I also think like it sort of interrupts the lightness as you go up of the building. It creates this sort of very heavy kind of band as things begin to get lighter as you go up from the ground level. So I'd challenge that band, if you will, depth and railing, so forth, should be looked at again. I also have on my notes here the Bali stone. I don't know if anybody on the board has any strong feelings of
The
that.
green one?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's used in pools.
Yeah.
Yep. And I don't think I have anything too wrong with it. But again, I think one of the board members said that this building is very, very white, right, with the accents of the wood and the Bali stone. Maybe, I don't know, I personally don't love that stone and think it's a little retro. And there could be a different material that could go there. And I definitely think the landscaping, as you're saying, could be enhanced on the ground there. And to sort of, to fill in a little bit, so.
Elio, I have a question for you. Is the zoning in this area, specifically for this building, can it be without parking, or is it required to have parking? Like when
It doesn't require parking.
Okay.
The RM1 district, if you have a lot with a width of less than 65 feet, parking is not required.
All right, so I do commend that they are including for the 4 units 8 parking spaces, and that's a big help for the area.
The waiver, the waiver we.
The waiver, I don't have a problem. I, for one, I don't have a problem with it because of the reasoning presented by Rogelio. But I think based on the comments of the board, you may want to ask for a continuance and come back with maybe some of the recommendations.
Well, actually, regarding that one point, Rogelio, we actually have 14'5" floor to floor. So we actually did address that after the first set of comments. We have 14'5" floor to floor, so that's approximately 13'10" clear at the garage level.
From base flood elevation?
From base flood elevation, I'm sorry, so from base flood elevation of 9 feet and GVD, we go.
It should be 8.
I think it
Okay,
says
so
it's
8
8 base flood
So we,
elevation.
that's true, sorry, so 8 feet, and I see 8 feet in GVD. From there, yes, from there we have 14'5" to the, I'm sorry, yeah, 14'5" to the second floor, so that would be approximately 13'8". So yeah, we did address that. That was a comment at the during the first set of.
So the
after
variance
first
is
submission.
not needed then? Rogelio?
The waiver, let me
The
double check.
waiver.
The last time I looked at it, it seemed to be necessary, but we didn't have any concerns with it. That's a waiver that's commonly granted.
Yeah,
But let me double check.
We've seen that because to adjust for the new street height, that
Right.
then truncates the garage level. So
Right.
people are requesting to raise that, yeah.
Yeah, if they had habitable space on the ground floor, we might have concerns with it, but for parking, there's plenty of clearance there for parking. So we usually don't have concerns with that waiver.
I go
But
back
I'll double check.
what
we
Myra
saw.
said about maybe continuing this with taking in consideration some of our comments, unless you don't feel like that. But I feel like there's some things that you could tweak and change, enhance side elevations, banding, materiality, softening, landscape, and also seeing what this building looks like at night with the exterior lighting at night. I'd like to see that, a view of that as well.
Oh, there's always room for refinement. Absolutely.
Excuse me, Chair.
Oh,
There's a building 756 84th Street. You know what I'm talking about?
not off the top of my head. Can I see it?
It's kind of similar. I mean, not similar, but
Yes, we know the building.
proportionate
It's,
wise.
Diva.
Right, proportionate wise, it's to the neighborhood. It feels the same way.
It's actually,
Are these setting it at a value of about $1.5 million each, more or less?
I'm sorry?
Are you setting them at around 1.5?
Yes.
Yeah. Going back to my comment before, I would try to figure out a way of how to incorporate proper closets in the spaces and design them well, because they're not gonna move if you don't do that.
Okay.
Just I'm
Further into
giving
that,
you
yeah.
from the sales perspective, that's the first thing that people are gonna look at, especially couples and whatnot.
We can move the interior space.
Don't take
around
that
a bit.
lightly, because people won't envision it.
Do you think you've heard enough from us on how to make any revisions and tweaks to the project and to come back to
Yeah, I
us?
think there's a clear direction as to what can be done.
Would you like to be continued then to the July meeting or September, October?
July, what's the date on the July meeting?
It's July 9th.
Assuming you can.
We don't meet in August.
Yes, we can do July. Yes.
And you can come back with some new renderings and show us an evening view as well.
Rogelio, what's the deadline for the submission?
So when an item is continued by the board, we typically need everything 2 weeks prior to the meeting so that we have time to upload the plans for the public to view and to revise our staff reports. So that would be the 9th.
While you're looking at that real quick, board, I think you guys should look up this address, 756 84th Street. It's a very similar building.
The
And-
one on your,
And board member, you were asking about that neighboring building that what was it built? It was built in 1970. 756 84th Street. It's very similar to what they're trying to accomplish here.
We would need it by June 25th.
Doesn't give you
Today's
that
the
much
11th,
time.
2 weeks, basically.
Yeah.
Active for sale.
Helio, does the date of when they come back need to be set today, or can we just continue it and let them work out with you when they will be coming back?
You would have to continue it to a date certain, otherwise it would require
Okay.
renoticing.
Oh, okay.
We can do July.
Okay.
2 weeks is enough?
Yeah, because we had to have considered most of these items that have come up. We went with the direction that we showed, but we can go back and look at them and see if we can tweak them or incorporate them. And absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you for having the parking added when it wasn't required. It certainly makes it easier for those that will be buying.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a required amenity.
Okay.
So the reason we thought about the waiver, we see that you have an apron 2 foot 8 inches, but the way we saw it in the plans, it appeared to be part of a slab.
Oh, I see. No, it's
know.
an apron. Yeah, it's an apron to hide the lighting and the pipes and so on and so on.
Okay, so you may not need the waiver. So that can be withdrawn.
So he gets a reimbursement. from
We
the
don't
city.
charge for waivers.
All right.
We charge for
Too bad.
variances, but not waivers. Waivers are free.
Take advantage of it.
But that's a good idea. We should charge.
No.
After July.
Thank you for the suggestion.
Is there a motion? And a second.
I don't think there's a motion yet.
Oh, I can make a motion to continue to the July meeting.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Lewin, second by Ms. Butagavoli. All those in favor?
Hi.
Any opposed? Motion passes. So that would be the July 9th, 2026 meeting.
And if you need more time, let them know.
Let us know, we can continue
You can
we don't have a
defer
meeting
it.
in August, so the next one would be in September.
September.
By the way, for your presentation, I think it'll be good for you to show like some of these other projects that are already approved and how they look,
Yeah.
because it's very similar. So I'm just giving you the recommendation that instead of just showing the neighboring building, show what other projects are happening in that same exact neighborhood, just a couple blocks away, so people could understand what's happening.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
Alrighty. And, I will discuss with the director the balcony support system and all that. Yeah.
Please, thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's all for us on the agenda.
Is there a motion
I make a motion to end the meeting? Adjourn?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.